Alright, since you guys like seeing around these things so much, here we are again with another walk around of a locomotive. This time it's an SD40, and we are starting out inside the main gen room. This is where there's a number of things in here actually. Speaking of the main gen, we'll just start there. This big thing right here is your main alternator. On an SD40 be an AR10. And if you look down in here, not super easy to see, courtesy of there being, let me see if I can wipe some of that dust off. Still not super easy to see. But you can just about see the fuses inside the different legs of the main. And there's also another set of them up here. These fuses are there, so if more current flows through one leg inside the main than another, it'll blow the fuse and it can cause issues, but it's a protection device. If we look in here, we have the slip rings. There are two sets of slip rings. The two closest to you that you're looking at right now are for the D14, and the two in the back are for the AR10. Those are the companion alternator and the main alternator respectively. We'll get more into that in a future video, I'm sure. But that's what those sets of slip rings are for. It lets the excitation current flow into the fields. And speaking of excitation, if we flip around, see this right here, this whole big thing is the back side of the electrical cabinet where all the contactors and wiring and everything is. It's kind of cramped in here, so I can't really get you good shots. Up there we have a set of resistors. And if we look, speaking of excitation, up here, it's not a great view, but there you can see it. That is called the SCR, or Silicon Controlled Rectifier. And that is actually what controls the excitation, or delivers the excitation current to the AR10. And there's a, well, this isn't a dash 2, but on a dash 2 there's a module in the cab that sends gating pulses to this that tells it when to turn on, and that's what controls your excitation current. Also, while we're up top here, we have, these are the inertia air filters. They're called inertia filters because they use the inertia of heavy particulates in the air in order to filter them out. It's kind of hard to see, but you can see the little slots in it. So as the air, basically the way they work is as the air tries to come in, it forces it to make a couple of sharp U-turns, you know, kind of a zigzag shape. And as it does that, the heavy particles want to keep moving in the way they were going. So they tend to smack against the wall and settle out. And for most of your air, that's good enough. And there's a filter blower motor up there, and what that does is that actually spins that big squirrel cage rotor that sucks air through these air ducts. So all the dirt that falls out lands in this air duct, gets sucked through that blower and blown out the top of the locomotive. And then there's also this bigger squirrel cage blower, and this one supplies air to the main, which you can see right there, and it also supplies the cooling air down to the traction motors in the electrical cabinet. What you're looking at right here, this is the inside of the bubble on the outside of the locomotive. So this is what's right behind it. It's this big blower. And as this spins, it blows cooling air down, and then the air duct runs along the frame. So that's oh, one last thing. These are called, we call them the baggy filters, because they're a big giant fiberglass bag. Obviously these ones haven't just been changed, in case that wasn't clear, but these are for the actual engine air. So the air that the engine uses to run has to go through these after it goes through your inertia filters. And you can't obviously see it, but right vaguely on the other side of that is where the turbocharger inlet is. So, but yeah, there's a little sneak peek around the inside of one of these main gen rooms. Obviously we got cables and whatnot up in here. So I'm gonna cut the video real quick and do some more looking around. Alright, so here we are inside the cab of this locomotive, and this box right here is for this locomotive is equipped. I'm not sure if it actually works on this one, but this is actually equipped with a remote control system. It's not online right now because it's not being used as a remote control, but this is some of the remote control equipment. And then we have a control stand, which this one actually has a -2 or a later model control stand in it, which I actually didn't know any of ours had that. And we still got, you know, all our air brake stuff, horn, got the radio, head-end display, all that fun stuff, speedometer, crew alerter. Back here we got the electrical cabinet. We have the controls, not the controls, but the ECU for the electronic control system on this locomotive. Got heaters. If we take a sneak peek down in here, we got our sandbox, and we got more of the remote control stuff. Again, once you've seen the inside of one of these cabs, you've pretty much seen them all. Go outside along the car body. Get in here. Again, this is a lot of same but different. Got the expansion tank for the cooling system, got the governor, got a bunch of stuff that you can barely see. The front of the engine, water pumps, engine protector. If you look down, if I can get this to position right, there you can see it just about. That bolt, the shiny brass colored one, is actually attached to the front of the engine crankshaft, and that's the drive shaft that goes up under that shield to the air compressor up there. I'm not sure if this specific locomotive has it, and it does. Some of these SD40s, 6-axle variants, actually have a second electrical cabinet that's hidden in the back. If I go over to the other side, you'll be able to see it better. So here we got the air compressor. Here's kind of a better view of that second electrical cabinet, because on a lot of these 6-axles they have so many extra contactors compared to the 4-axles that you need an extra place to put them, so that's what that is. And then up there we got fuel filter housing, got the Michiana tank for all the oil filters, got the AC cabinet over there, we got an air filter for the air compressor. Wrong door. Come in here, we got, you know, fuel pump, fuel filters. We got the other side of the engine. We got the ice cream box, which, depending on what I decide to do, I may or may not open that up here in a few minutes. Here's the outside of the bubble. And if we get in here, here we have the main turbocharger aftercooler air duct. This is the aftercooler core. basically looks like a radiator inside of there. And that's to cool, excuse me, that's to cool the charge air coming out of the turbocharger, because colder air is denser, it has more oxygen in it, so you can get inject more fuel and get a better burn. And speaking of the turbocharger, this is the turbocharger. We got the exhaust inlet side, and you got all of the gearing madness that goes on down in there. And you have the inlet, and that tube right there goes to the back side of those baggy filters I showed you earlier. This right here in front of me is the drive shaft, if you can see down in there, for the auxiliary generator. The aux gen hides right behind here, and this is again the other side of that squirrel cage blower I showed you. That's driven off the back of the aux gen. Then you come down here, we got the main gen, and you're actually looking at the companion alternator end of it right here. No, that would be the main right there. But you can look in there and see all kinds of holes and fun stuff. Over here we have the starter motors. These are the two things. Alright, so I biffed this the first time. We'll have to do some editing shenanigans. But there you can see the starter motors. And that's the ring gear that it turns. Here in a second we'll fire this thing up again since I biffed it the first time. If we come down here, you can actually open this lid on top of the ice cream box. You can see down inside the oil in here, and this is actually where we add oil with the engine running. So these locomotives have several oil pumps. There's the main lube and piston cooling pump, which is right there, and the scavenging oil pump, which is hidden over there. Now, by design, the scavenging oil pump pumps more liquid than these two pumps need. So this is actually where the slack or the excess gets dealt with. If you put more oil in here than these two pumps need, it actually just drains back into the crankcase, and that's what that's how these are designed to work when the engine's running normally. So if I'm fast enough, you'll be from when it starts, I'll be able to make it back here. You'll be able to watch as this tank fills up with oil. And after that, that'll be about all I have for you guys today. So I'm gonna pause the video, and I'll be back when I go to fire it up. Here we go.